It's story time. Story time. Let's read a story time. Story time. I'm geeked to story time. Story time. You and me is story time. Story time. Let's achieve. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Story Time with me, Kayla. How's everyone doing out there? I hope you are doing well and making sure to stay safe. Now, today we have another special author feature from a returning author. Today we are going to take a look at a book from author John Light Jr., who is a librarian and a fellow storyteller. Now, a couple of months ago, I was able to read his first book, The Adventures of Joshua and Pip. And today we're going to read about Joshua's and Pip's next adventure. So, without further ado, the book we'll be reading tonight is called Dun, 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 dun. The Adventures of Joshua and Pip, Calvin the Catfish. You ready to see what this book is all about? Ready, set, let's begin. The Adventures of Joshua and Pip, Calvin the Catfish. Words by John Light Jr. Pictures by Jaime R. Gandy. Here we go. He signed it. It says, Kayla, you caught Calvin, Mr. John. I always love his smiley faces. Thank you so much. He dedicates this book to his mama and for Lily. Shout out to you all. Here we go. Once upon a time, on a humidly hot day, Pip and Joshua met on Oak Tree Hill. Pip held 2 fishing rods. Joshua carried a bucket and a can of worms. They were going to Ogeechee Lake to fish. As they walked up Greentown Road, they passed a sign that read, "Will you catch Calvin the Catfish?" Pip's eyes widened. "I'm going to catch Calvin," he exclaimed. Joshua reasoned, "I just want to catch a fish." When they arrived, the lake was crowded. It seemed like the whole town was there. They heard 2 old men talking close by. "I know I felt my line jump. I almost had him. I know it," exclaimed the man in the brown jacket. "Oh, man, you didn't feel a thing except your belly growling. I'm the one who almost caught Calvin." They continued to argue. "Besides, you didn't bring the saltwater taffy like I told you. Everyone knows you need taffy to lure Calvin." Pip turned to Joshua. "Do we have any taffy?" "No, we have worms," Joshua said. "Gummy worms?" Pip hoped. "No, wormy worms," Joshua explained. "But I do have some cherry bubble gum." "That'll have to do," Pip decided. The boys found an empty spot on the lake. They baited their lines. Joshua used worms. Pip used bubble gum. They casted their lines, and then they waited, and waited, and waited some more. They heard a shout. 3 sisters each pulled a brown bass out the lake. Ooh, nice. Then there was another celebration. A teenage boy caught 4 flapping crappies at once. But Pip and Joshua had not caught anything. The boys continued to wait. An hour passed. The sisters packed up their fish and went home. Another hour passed. The teenager took off. He was happy with his haul. The boys continued to wait. Finally, the sun began to rest his eyes in the western sky. The once crowded lake was now empty. Only Pip and Joshua were left. Joshua asked, "Are you ready to go? It's getting dark." Just as Pip was about to reel in his line, something snatched at it. Pip held on as tight as he could. "Help! I got something, Joshua!" Pip pleaded. Joshua grabbed Pip. The line pulled them to the left, and then the right. Then the line pulled them forward.
They pulled backwards. Suddenly, a great big monster of a fish leapt out of the lake. Pip and Joshua were astonished. It was Calvin the catfish. It seemed to wink and smile as it soared through the sky. Then it plunged back into Ogeechee. Whoa. That was surprising, wasn't it? Water splashed everywhere. They were drenched. They lost their fishing rods, but there were fish all around them. They collected the fish. No one is ever going to believe we saw Calvin the catfish, Pip proclaimed. I know, Joshua agreed. But I will never forget the look on Calvin's face, Joshua mimicked. It was like raining fish, huh? Pip and Joshua laughed as they walked home down Greentown Road. That is the end of this Joshua and Pip adventure. The end.
Hey, Drew, that was such a fun story. Did you expect Calvin to be that big? Because I didn't. You know, I always wanted to go fishing, but I think one of the reasons why I never went is because I know I will be scared when I see the fish coming out the water and like flapping all over the place. Mr. John, you have done it again with such a wonderful written book. I cannot wait to see Joshua and Pip's next adventure. Now, to find your copy of The Adventures of Joshua and Pip, Calvin the Catfish, make sure to visit his website, theylivedhappily.com. I thank you all so much for joining me, and hey, the weather still is a little nice out. Maybe you can go fishing and find your own Calvin out there. I thank you all so much for joining me, and thank you, Mr. John, for sending such a wonderful book. But it's time to sing goodbye, everyone. Are you ready? Goodbye, 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 my friends, goodbye to you. I hope to see you again real soon. Be proud of all your work tonight. Now climb into bed and sleep real tight. On the count of 3, let's say goodnight. 1, 2, 3, good night.